Hi, welcome back. If you're anything like me and you're trying to get into videography but you're constantly getting overwhelmed by picture profiles and different settings in the camera, well, you're in the right place because I'm about to show you the best settings for a beginner like yourself and like me. You don't have to do too much editing, you don't have to do too much color grading. You basically just have to adjust the contrast and the brightness maybe, and you can maybe do a little bit of warm and cool tones to get your skin color more correct. But overall, you won't have to change much. The Sony A6400 is my first camera actually, and that's what I'm filming this on. I really like this camera. It does films in 4K, 24 frames per second, and it's very easy and simple to use. But when you look online, people keep mentioning that it's an 8-bit camera and you shouldn't film in S-Log, you shouldn't be filming in HLG, you shouldn't be doing this and that, and it just becomes a bit overwhelming. But from my experience, I just went and tested everything, and I think I found the best color picture profile for beginners like us. So after testing out all the settings, I fell on this picture profile, and actually I think that this picture profile is very beginner friendly because all you have to do is minimal adjustments in post-processing. You just have to change the contrast, the brightness. You can play around with some of the warm and cool sliders, which I'll show you a bit later. But I think this picture profile is as close as you can get to very nice colors with straight out of the camera and minimal editing. And the reason I want to achieve this as a beginner is I want to get out there and make more content, focus on making more content and not just sit there editing on the computer all the time and trying to get the best colors, because I feel like it's important to get out there and express yourself and film more content. So for the picture profile, I actually went into the settings and selected picture profile 10, but you can select whichever one you want. I just find that most convenient because I mean, you can easily go 10 and then go back to off when you take photos, because I don't recommend using this picture profile when you're taking photos. So yeah, I selected picture profile 10, and for the gamma, I've set it to Cine 4. The color mode is ITU 709 matrix. And if you scroll down a little bit more, I went down to the detailed section and set it to -7. So this might seem a bit counterintuitive, but you can experiment with your camera if you want. But I set it to -7 because I can always sharpen the image later in post-production. And what that does is actually let me control how much sharpness there is. Whereas if I just had it on the high sharpness or the default, which I think is just 0, what that will do is it will cause artificial sharpness from the camera, and I really don't want that. I'm just trying to get as soft as it look as possible, so it looks I can keep some sections soft in the image later and sharpen sections I want to sharpen. Well, now that I've shown you some of the settings on the camera, I think we should move to the computer now, and what I use is Final Cut Pro, and I'll run you through some of the settings and things that I changed for some sample videos that I'm just taking of this talking head format, and give you a look at what I actually end up changing to get the colors right. So let's switch over to there. Alright, so I'm going to take you through some of my editing process on Final Cut Pro now. This might be very similar to some of the software you use, so take this just as an example on Final Cut Pro. But as you can see, we have the clip on the screen, and this is no adjustments, this is just straight out of the camera. So it actually looks pretty good. It's not as flat as an S-Log profile, of course, but I think it's a very good starting point, and it leaves lots of room for editing. And in Final Cut Pro, there's a really nice feature where if you click the drop down, click color adjustments, and you see this magic enhanced lighting color. So it might depend on your version of Final Cut Pro, but in my one, it's the latest, not the latest, it's well, it's pretty recent version of Final Cut Pro has this button. So if you click it, right away, as you can see, it does a pretty good job. It just gives you a more cinematic look, and I like to use this as a starting point, to be honest. And as you can see, some of the adjustments it's done, and you can go in and let's say, oh, I want to up the exposure a little bit. And you want to try not to go too far away from the standard, or else you start to get some weird looks. So yeah, I want to up the brightness actually more than they have. And I like the color grading it's done, but I feel like the blacks aren't as black as I want. So a little trick with, I think, most software other than Final Cut Pro is you can go to like equivalent of a hue saturation curves and find the luma versus saturation, and if you click around the bottom half and drop it down, as you can see, and maybe a little bit more like that, it turns those, it's very subtle because there's not much color grading going on, but it turns those sections a bit better black. So if you want, you can go to your shadows here and adjust the tint of the shadows, maybe a little bit more warmth, and you can add a bit more tint to it to balance it out. And I think that's a great improvement. And that's all that there is to it. Is not too much. You apply these to the same clips, all the same clips. If they're in the same environment, you can copy paste these settings. And since if it's a talking head video like this and the lighting is the same, it should be fairly easy because the lighting is the same. All you have to do is just copy these settings and they should work. But really, there is not much. There's no need to apply Rec 709 conversion on it. It's not too flat. It's actually, you know, very workable. And in most programs, it probably has like that, like an AI button essentially, which gives you a good baseline, or you can find some free LUTs online and just give you a baseline to start you off, and you just make minor tweaks here and there, and once you're happy with it, yeah, you can post it online.